This episode is sponsored by Autris Healthcare, your trusted partner in compassionate, high-quality home care across Essex County, Union County, and surrounding areas in New Jersey. Welcome to Meals and Mind Show, where wellness begins with what you eat and how you think. With your host, Mimi.
Hi, I am your host, Mimi, and welcome to Meals and Mind, where we dive into mindset, lifestyle, food, and the ways that connect to will, health, and caregiving. We keep things bite-sized and grounded, so whether you're a caregiver, a healthcare professional, or just someone trying to feel better day to day, you are in the right place. Today's guest is someone whose work we admire deeply, Dr. Lorraine Maita. She is a triple board physician in functional, anti-aging, and internal medicine. She helps a lot of people, especially women, reclaim their energy, mental clarity, and overall wellness, and a blend of traditional and holistic care. Dr. Maita, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I always like to help people, and that's why I'm here.
Now, before we dive into the bigger stuff, because we have a lot to talk about, normally we do have a segment where we just ask a little bit of question in order to help our listener to get to know you better. Now, there are rules into that, right? We have 5 questions, and each question you get 60 seconds to answer them. It's just simply fun.
Okay, I'm going to have fun.
You're going to have fun. So I'm hoping you're ready. So,
I'm ready.
Ready to go?
I'm ready to
Okay.
go.
Number 1. Okay, first question. What is your go-to comfort food?
Cup of tea. I know it sounds weird, but I really love a cup of tea. Just that's where I meditate. I can meditate over a cup of tea.
Really?
Yes.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite?
I like
tea
the
or brand?
yogi tea.
Oh, me too.
The Egyptian licorice mint is my favorite. And I also like the little sayings on the tea bag.
Okay.
They have a little inspirational message.
Oh, really? I never really
Yes.
tried that.
Yes.
Oh, one of the things I love to do when I get a little bit tea, especially at night, is put lemon, or are you a, what do you call that, syrup when you put
No
your tea?
syrup.
No,
syrup.
nothing.
No,
Okay.
No, I don't like too much sweet. If I'm going to have a drink, I prefer something tart rather than sweet. Although I do like my dark chocolate. I do like my dark chocolate.
Okay, perfect. Now we do have a second question for you. What is your favorite weekend ritual or self-care habit?
Going for a walk in nature. I love hiking in nature. I have an app that you can record the bird song and you can tell which bird it is. And then I have another app where I'm hiking in the woods and I see some beautiful flower or plant and I take a picture of it and it'll tell me what type of flower it is. So my husband and I got into that during the pandemic, and I've always loved going for
A
very
walk.
long
A
walks
walk. Okay.
in nature, usually a park or hiking trail.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. There's a little one, small one right there by the hospital. And I love that trail. The reason I love it's right there by the hospital, the Overlook Hospital. It's right there in the back of it. The good thing about that is very short, few minutes. The good thing about that trail, there's a message. There's a passage. Yeah, you should try it. I'm telling you, I was so surprised and happy when I saw it's like there's message throughout the trail, and it's a positive message.
I love that. I
Yeah.
have to try that trail. I used to go to the library there all the time. By
Yes.
Overlook. Yeah.
Oh, yes, it's right there by the hospital. Check it out. You would love it. It's very short. It's nothing long, but the good thing about it, like every time that I feel like I want to take a walk, I just go straight to that trail. Is it because there's little message throughout the trails.
I'm going to try it.
It's a really good thing. Now we are in the third question. If you had a full day to yourself, what would you do? Well, how would you spend it?
I love getting up in the morning. This is my morning ritual. I'll get up, I'll write my top 3 priorities.
You too?
I
Wow.
meditate, and then I exercise. So then it starts my day in a very positive way, and I feel like even though the day can get totally out of control.
Of course.
It can get totally out of control, but I feel like I have set my priorities. But then I would probably go for a drive somewhere or a museum or a walk. And there was actually studies that if you get involved in cultural activities or museums, it actually increases your lifespan.
Really?
Yes. So
Oh.
I would probably do something like an escape like that, and
Mhm.
then sit and read a book
Oh, wow, wow, wow.
and relax
To relax.
with a cup of tea.
Oh, let's see. We can have a yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a very relaxing day.
Yeah.
Very relaxing day.
I don't
Yeah.
have many of those. But that's what I'm trying to
You would
encourage people to
encourage
do.
people to-
But and maybe it's shorter. It's maybe not a whole day, but taking time for yourself is so
It's-
important.
Exactly. Now we have 4 questions. Like, in the 4th questions. Morning person or not owl? What's your favorite time of the day? And I know you just mentioned that you're a morning routine, but are you a morning person or you're late night staying up person?
I'm not a morning person in the regards that I want to get up and go and I jump out of bed all excited. No, that's why I start my morning with a little bit of contemplation and, I'll do yoga.
Oh,
But I get my second win after dinner where I'll start to do other type of work and read, that's when I read the boring medical journals. They're not boring to me, but
Yeah,
I
of
think,
course,
they,
to
I
other
think they
people.
would put other people to sleep. But
Oh.
I'm not lively in the morning or talkative in the
oh,
morning.
in the morning, that's when that's the time that you have for yourself. So
Yes.
basically, there's no
I don't
point
want-
in so
Yeah, I don't want to
reason.
talk to anybody.
There's no reason for you to have a full conversation when you're out of the bed.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
just
exactly.
yeah. Now we have the 5th question for you. What's one small thing that never fail to bring you joy?
I would think beautiful sunset, listening to the bird. I don't know, I get joy in simple pleasures, and that really relaxes me. Or going out with my girlfriends and laughing, because you can just let loose and be yourself and be happy and
Yeah.
share your wins,
Yeah.
share your sorrows.
Yeah.
That never fails.
Okay. So in other words, being in company of your friends and family, that always bring you joy. So let's say you have a bad day for the day and your friends called you up and said, let's get out and get something to eat, or you would definitely do that because that would bring you joy. Nice. Okay, nice. So that was fun. What do you think?
Yes, I think it's totally fun.
That was fun. Thank you for sharing those. I really do appreciate it. I like those information because it gets to know you a little bit better and also to get the listeners to know you. And now we're going to shift a little bit of something a little bit deeper. Dr. Maita, one of the things that we love to do in this show is connecting the dots when it comes to health and healing. I have talked and I know a lot of caregivers, and one of the things that I know about caregivers is they're struggling about day-to-day basis that they're going through, whether they're taking care of family members or even themselves or even a loved ones. So for someone who is in that position, especially when they are dealing with low energy, with lack of resources, with lack of support, with lack of help, and what can they do to regain a sense of control and it's so that doesn't seem to be so overwhelmed?
There are 2 things that I would mention that people need. One of the things that most people leave out, especially when you're a caregiver, is time for yourself. That's why I start my morning with some deep breathing. Sometimes I meditate. Sometimes, I sit with a cup of tea or in the morning I have a cup of coffee. However, take time for yourself. You must find your moments of joy, and you find what brings you joy, and maybe it's just simple pleasures. Bringing joy into your life is so important because being a caregiver is physically, mentally, and emotionally draining. And the other thing that you can do that can combat fatigue, mood swings, and brain fog is to stop sugar, simple carbohydrates, and processed foods. They put you on a roller coaster ride of mood swings, energy dips, and brain fog. So just cutting out those types of things can make a huge difference. We do this every day with people, and they are completely flabbergasted at how much their life can change.
I really do appreciate the fact you mentioned about sugar, because that's one of the things that I have struggled with a lot. And some people, you know what, it's so funny. Lately, after every time that I eat something, I tend to be craving some sort of sugar. That's one of the things my sister, she is I'm gonna call her a health freak in a sense, because she is so strict, and the way she is strict, and I wish that I was that strict, and I cannot be that strict in a sense. I mean, I can, but in a sense, I'm battling a little bit more. But I really do appreciate, because sugar do affect you more in everything that you do, because I don't think people tend to realize that. They're always calling themselves have a sweet tooth. I don't know if you heard of,
Yes.
it's just a little bit of sugar that I like, but they don't realize that everything that you eat mostly has sugar on it.
It does. Sugar is as addictive as cocaine.
Yeah.
And the simple carbohydrates, the ultra processed foods, those chips, even if they're vegetable chips, people think vegetable chips are healthy. I'm eating vegetables. You're not. Think of any starch like a string of pearls. Each pearl is a cube of sugar. The minute it goes into your mouth, the amylase in your mouth cuts the pearls, and you're just having sugar.
Yeah.
That's the food companies know exactly how to keep you craving it and buying more.
And buy more. That's true, because that's the wall they need to make somehow. Now, we hear a lot about hormones affecting everything from sleep to craving. What are some of the things that might be off, and what can someone do to start feeling a little bit better or more balanced again?
A lot of women, I say, they experience the 4 Ps: puberty, postpartum, perimenopause, and postmenopause. These are when your hormones shift, and they affect your mood, your energy, your weight. Most people come to me because they say to me, I don't feel like myself anymore. I'm gaining weight. I have brain fog. I'm moody. I can't sleep. I'm tired. Those are the common things, and they could be anything. But if you're a young woman or even an older woman, hormone shifts can be very subtle.
Yeah.
And most don't even think of hormones. They just say, I don't feel like myself
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And, there are about 35 symptoms of menopause, but those symptoms start in perimenopause, which is 10 years before menopause.
It is. So most people do go to menopause around age of 55, right? Some people earlier and some people later on, I believe. But then you've said the perimenopause goes back to 10 years. So I'm talking about a young woman who is 45 years old. So there's a lot of symptoms and things going on with them, and they don't understand that. And that could be a cause of it.
Absolutely. Everything I do doesn't work anymore.
Mm.
I'm eating right, I'm exercising, but I can't lose weight. I'm tired all the time. I have brain fog. I'm moody. I can't sleep. That's hormones.
That's hormone shifting. Now, one of the other things, so I remember I was talking to someone, and we were discussing stress, and I said, oh my God, I have so much stress. He said, well, welcome to the party. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, he said, well, unfortunately, everybody has stress, some type of stress. But the thing is, we're all dealing with stress in our own ways, in different ways. But now, what I want to talk about, the stress of the caregiving. Being a caregiver, the stressful of us being a caregiver. And most caregivers, like I mentioned before, deal with that on a daily basis because of many things. It could be lack of support. It could be lack of help. It could be lack of resources. It could be because they're all by themselves doing those kind of work, and they're all brand new to this work. So basically, they feel lost, and then that add up to most of the stress they already have. That add up to stress. Now, how does it will affect their body in the long term? And what are the small ways? And I know that you meant that. What are the small ways that someone can do to help them to release some of those stress?
I'm going to broaden the definition of stress because it could be physical, emotional, or chemical, or all three. And any
I'm sorry, you say
distress,
physical, emotional,
emotional,
chemical. Oh.
So chemical could be hormone imbalances.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It could be inflammation.
Okay.
It could be infection. It could be toxins. It could
Okay.
be nutritional deficiencies or
And
nutritional excess.
inside of your body that causing it shift and balance, and that would cause stress into you.
It will cause the stress hormone cortisol, which is the major
Oh.
ager, by the way, to elevate. When cortisol goes high, it raises blood pressure, it raises pulse, it breaks down muscle, it breaks down bone. It gives you, I used to say, it makes you fat, flabby, flaky, foggy, fatigued, and forgetful. Everybody chuckles, but it's not funny.
No.
It's not funny. So that can go on for a long time, and your body is breaking down and your mind is breaking down, and then you go from stressed out, wired and tired, to burnout, which is chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, frequent infection, developing autoimmune disease. When you're burnt out, that's when all the bad things happen. And I just had a woman who came to me she was young, and
Yeah.
she developed breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
And she wanted to know why. And I looked at so many things and I said, you're burned out. So when your cortisol is flatline,
Yeah.
burned out, you're more susceptible. Your immune system has no controls. And that's what does surveillance to, our cells are always dividing and making mistakes.
Yeah.
And they make a mistake and you develop a little cancer cell. If it's not vigilant, when your cortisol's flatline, it's not vigilant, they just take off and grow.
This is good for a while.
So the prognosis is poorer if you're flatline burned out. Those are the things that creep up on you and you just don't realize it. And it's lifestyle that really makes a difference. And of course, I also use different adaptogenic herbs and I measure. Measuring cortisol is important. But even if you have the signs and symptoms, if you're wired and tired, you want something to lower cortisol. There are herbal formulas that
would
help that. And then if you're completely burned out and stressed out, the adrenal formulas for that would have something like licorice and ginseng, but you have to be careful if you have high blood pressure. But it's the lifestyle, getting enough sleep, exercising, eating nutritionally dense food, staying away from the sugars, staying away from inflammatory food, eating lean protein, fats that are healthier. If you do that, it helps your body recover.
Now, you say something that seemed to be interesting, and that's the first time I heard of it. You said measure cortisol. Can you explain that a little bit?
There, you can buy kits online now.
Oh, you
do that
can?
in
I did not even know that. This can measurement.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can measure it, and it's saliva. You
Oh,
spit
okay.
into it 4 times in a day. When you wake up in the morning, it should be high because that's your get up and go hormone, right?
Okay.
You want it high in the morning. And then you spit into another tube around noon, which it should start going lower, and then between 3 and 5, and then before bedtime. And there are some people, it goes up at night. Their minds are racing,
racing.
and they can't fall asleep. So sometimes it's cortisol, and I use a supplement called phosphatidylserine. It's a long name, PS for short, and that can lower cortisol and help you sleep at night. And doing a wind down routine, because that's where you restore in sleep. And caregivers are always thinking about all the things that they have to do. Their mind doesn't stop. They're exhausted and fall into bed and can't sleep.
As I mentioned it before, and when I say being a caregiver, I'm talking about you're in a position who is helping someone else, and another adult, whether it's a loved one or whether it's a family member. So you are in a position to be that guardian of that person, and you are responsible to help them, especially those who are in need of care. So you are in a position to care, being a caregiver for that person. And that can bring a lot of stress. When you're in the midst of everything, you tend to completely forget about yourself.
Yes.
And you take a step back about yourself. But now that's what we're trying to explain, that since you're in that position, doesn't mean that you're in that position of being a caregiver, doesn't mean that your health should take a step back by helping somebody else, because you don't want to become another person who is in need. You have to be 100% healthy and feel a little bit better about yourself in order for you to help somebody else. Otherwise, there's no need, there's no point of it. One of the things that people are dealing with is the stress of all of those things. So it's very important, like you mentioned, to have a routine, morning routine and afternoon routine. The afternoon routine is a way to decompress yourself for the whole day that you had, whether it's taking a good shower, whether to love tea.
It's a simple pleasure,
it's a simple
right?
pleasure,
A nice
yeah.
hot shower and suds and something that smells nice and you're enveloped in warmth. Finding those simple pleasures, taking a little time for yourself, finding joy,
I enjoy.
getting your support network. That's so important. And in people that live beyond 100, people lived in communities where everybody supported each other.
Yes.
We don't have that anymore.
We don't. No.
We have to make it. We have to develop it. Finding the person that you can talk to. I mean, one of my best friends and I had this deal.
Yeah.
We all had stuff going in our
Yeah,
lives.
of course.
We each had 5 minutes to complain.
Yeah.
Right?
My
You had
sister
to
would have
cut it
loved
off.
that. Yeah.
You had to cut it off. And I told
Yeah.
this to my husband too.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's not listening. But 5 minutes each to vent and complain, acknowledge each other, and
Yeah.
then talk about fun things. The book you read, the music, the
thing
funny
that-
YouTube video, or just being in somebody's company that's supportive and uplifting. And you have to actually cultivate your tribe. You have to cultivate your tribe. You have to cultivate your support system, and you have to utilize it. If you don't take time for you and you don't find any joy in life, what's the purpose? That's when people really burn out.
One of the also to I want to get into the gut health, the gut health. It's often it's often linked to digestion, the GI tract system. So it can also, like you said, anything in your GI tract can affect your mood, your energy level. Can you explain why that is and how someone might support the gut health through food or any habit?
There are trillions of bacteria in our gut. In fact, there are more bacteria in our gut than there are cells in our body. And they play a role. They send out signals to your brain. More signals go from your gut to your brain than your brain to your gut. Now, the kind of bacteria you have in there makes a difference.
Yeah.
Like if you live in a good neighborhood, everybody keeps their place up.
Yeah.
They cooperate with each other. They're nice. So if you feed the right gut bacteria, the right food, you're going to get a cooperative gut because those bacteria make serotonin your natural antidepressant, right? You want that.
Yes.
And
yes.
it makes vitamins and it makes biotin, the hair vitamin. It communicates with your immune system, your hormone system, and your nervous system. If you start feeding your gut bacteria sugar and alcohol and pizza and beer and burgers and greasy foods, you're going to grow the wrong bacteria and they are going to wreak havoc with your hormone system, your immune system, and your nervous system. And we have a process where we, just for 2 weeks, eliminate foods that can make your gut immune system activated. And it's miraculous. A lot of those symptoms that people think are normal, like the brain fog, the fatigue, the aches and pains, the gas, the bloating, the headaches, it goes away. It goes away because you've changed your gut bacteria and you've gotten rid of the inflammation. And inflammation is the root cause of most chronic illness.
Okay, so they got away by doing the detoxing, correct?
Well, you can detox, but basically you're going to feed the gut bacteria the food it likes, which is fruits and vegetables, lean protein, anti-inflammatory fats. I call them fats that flow, anything that can be made into an oil, like fish, olives, avocados, nuts, and any of their oils. These are calming to the nervous system and the immune system. And that will calm the gut down, and then the gut will stop sending signals to the brain.
Okay.
Because it's gut, if you're constipated, it's related to depression.
Suppression.
And depression and constipation go together. And when you're constipated, you can't remove the toxins that you want to remove because it just sits there and it gets reabsorbed. And I use the analogy, it's kind of disgusting, but if you keep flushing a backed up toilet, what's it's going to do? It's going to go back up.
Yeah. But for someone who used to eat, let's say for someone who used to, they were a drinker, they have very bad habit when it comes to food. They were a smoker. So especially when they love sugar. Now let's say that they want to change, because obviously by being having this habit, they develop a system that's not good for them. They start develop a disease that they see symptoms and things like that. Would it be they need to first thing they need to do is in trying to detox, do some sort of detox to get rid of the thing, and then start to eating the healthier food, or just don't do detox, just eating the healthier food that would flush it out?
Yes and no.
Okay.
There are different ways of doing it, but people are not really understanding what detox is. Detox is decreasing the toxins going in and increasing the toxins going out. And this is why I love exercise. Exercise opens up your pores, you sweat, you get rid of toxins through your skin. You breathe heavy, you get rid of toxins through your breathing. It gets your bowels moving. It pumps the lymph into your liver so the liver can work harder. And, you have to hydrate, and you get detox through your kidneys. You want to have all those channels open. So making sure you're hydrated with a lot of clean water, moving your bowels daily. And if you have to, take magnesium and fiber, but start low and go slow.
Just to do a bowel movement.
Yeah.
That if you have a problem, like let's say that you don't have, because what I have always seen, especially from patients, they're trying to also stay away from any magnesium, just because if you're gonna do a void, just trying to do the void naturally, even though it takes 2 days, but instead of starting taking medication for it.
Oh, I always try to do it naturally.
Yeah.
Through
Okay.
food and hydration,
Yes,
and
of course.
exercise and fiber and magnesium. Most people are deficient in magnesium. Then there are several ways to go about changing your diet. You can start, especially if people drink a lot of coffee, start cutting back, maybe one by one. Or if you like sugar, do something to substitute for that. I found a guilty pleasure. I have this chocolate hummus. Oh my God, it tastes so wonderful. So I take fresh strawberries and I dip it in that. And so it's made of beans, but it has cocoa powder in it. Very low sugar.
That's nice.
And it's such a treat. And I know it's not very high in sugar. So cutting back on the sugar is helpful. So you can do it gradually, or you can do it cold turkey like anything else.
Yeah.
That's the first place I would start, is cutting back on the sugar, the simple carbohydrates, and the processed food.
Okay, so in other words, meaning to tell you, okay, so basically being in a bad habit, and one day you decide, okay, I want to change. I want to change the way that I eat, the way that what I put in inside of me, because I know it's affected everything that I do, especially my mental health. You don't need to necessarily start with a detox, but you just need to start at least with a diet.
Yeah. But start looking at, when you can. I know groceries are expensive now, but when you can, certain things I would buy organic, or at least be very diligent about washing your fruits and vegetables. There's what they call the Environmental Working Group. Every year they come out with a list of the things that have the most pesticides and herbicides. Those are the ones I try to eat organic, and the others I don't worry about so much. And if there's pennies difference, I'll buy organic versus not. I even have a lady who has a farm stand, and she doesn't say she's organic, but she said, look, I don't spray my stuff. She's got a loyal following, and it's very inexpensive. So finding that, you might have a local farm or farmer's market that pays a lot less than a big commercial farm. And start looking at your personal care product. As you start to run out, they're cleaner products.
And they're
not more expensive than the products that are filled with chemicals. So cutting back on the that to me, that's a detox. Cutting back on the chemicals going in, and making sure you're peeing, you're pooping, you're sweating,
you're sweating things out.
You're moving your body and moving your muscles and getting things circulated, and you can relieve a lot of tension with some heavy movement, even if it's just going up and down the stairs. Right. So that's a detox, is having all those things working.
We have different type of people, especially when it comes to bad habit when it comes to food, right? We have people that all their lives, or they have bad habits all their lives, and when it comes to that. So some of them tend to gain weight from that. Some of them, they gain weight, but that as much weight, but they develop illness in their body. So one of the question is, what do you think of when you're in that position, when you tell people, hey, you're kind of a little bit overweight, not over, I mean, you kind of, your eating habit is bad. They quickly think, I'm going to change for only one reason, just to lose the weight. But they don't have the idea that the habit that you have when it comes to food is not only affecting your weight, it's also affecting your mental health, your hormones, like you mentioned, your body. But so when there's somebody in that position, they wants to take something very quick to lose the weight. They think it's being healthy, eating healthy. It's just because they don't want to gain weight. So some people, they say, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change my habit when it comes to food. What do you think of the pills, when people take pills to lose weight?
Everybody's an individual and you have to meet them where they're at. I prefer the natural method. And like I said, I do this 2-week detoxification and elimination diet. Most people feel great. 80% of people feel great and lose 3 to 5 pounds, but I've had people lose 10 to 15 pounds or even 10 to 20 pounds. And I remember a man coming in to see me, and his blood pressure was so high, I wanted to send him to the emergency room. And he had very high blood sugar. He was overweight. I was a little nervous, and he said to me, I've tried other things. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go to the hospital, and I'm not going to go on medicine. So,
it's not going to go in medicine.
Right. So
oh, wow.
I said, well, I'm warning you that this blood pressure is very high and you could have a stroke. But, if you're not going to follow my advice, let's do the detoxification and elimination. I could not believe several weeks later he came in like a whole new person. I looked at his labs. He looked at his labs. I checked, is this your blood? Is this your name? And he said, yes. His blood pressure came down. He lost almost 15 or 18 pounds, and his blood sugar came down. He looked and felt great, and it was all just changing his diet. I tell people, you can rip the Band-Aid off fast and just do it cold turkey, and the first few days you're not going to be happy. Or, my nutrition coach is a little gentler than I am. She'll prepare you for a week and you start cutting back on sugar a little bit and cutting back on caffeine and alcohol. And then you do it and you ease into it. And then you just choose 2 weeks out of your life
2 weeks
to be perfect. And I can't believe the differences I see in people. It's diet. It's all diet.
It's just all diet.
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't give them medication.
Wow.
I may recommend some supplements.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But it's huge.
It's just what you eat, what you bring into your body.
Yes.
Once you change
and that's
that.
why I have, a coach that can hold your hand through
Yeah,
it.
to it. Okay.
So we individual coaching is a little bit more than
Of course.
We have group programs,
Okay.
which is less. And then I have an online program where people can do it yourself, where that's very inexpensive. And there's a daily email that walks you through exactly what to do, because people need help, and not everybody's going to be able to afford to go to somebody like me or to have a coach.
Yes.
But there's easy ways of doing it where the benefits are amazing.
It's just amazing. Yeah. Anything that good, whether it's in the outside or in the inside, anything that good, it's just to help you.
Yeah.
So there's always a benefit to it. I recall talking to someone and they said, well, everybody going the same way, but I'm just saying, before you go, you want to feel good. Before you go, whether you this or that, we go all going the same way. But what would be the point on your way there and you suffering?
Right, exactly. I mean, that's why, you asked me my favorite quote. It's not how old you are, it's how you are old. And it's your attitude, it's your lifestyle. I always get asked to talk about the habits of centenarians, people who live beyond 100. And
yes.
Right. What do? They eat mostly plants. They're not vegan or vegetarian, but they eat mostly plants. They move naturally. So you don't have to join a gym. You don't have to do a special exercise program. You just have to move, right? You just have to get your body moving and your blood flowing. It's eat to 80% full, so you don't stuff yourself, because stuffing yourself leads to insulin resistance, weight
Yeah, of course.
gain,
Yes, yes. Yeah.
cortisol shifts.
Yeah.
But we talked about downshifting, finding time just to relax and breathe, even if it's just deep breathing and quiet
No,
breathing.
quite
Some whatever it takes. I go for a walk when I can. I practice yoga. I practice breathing. But finding your tribe, finding your
It's
support network,
it's yeah.
and having your purpose. So your purpose maybe is to be a caregiver, but you still have to fill your own cup.
Yes,
Then
yes.
you have nothing left.
Yes,
to
yeah.
give.
Yeah.
And it's those habits. You can be somebody who can, try to change. It's probably easier to change just some things until it becomes a habit, and then add something else, and then add something else.
I absolutely agree. Now, really, I know that when you mentioned that when we were talking, you say you have a book. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Okay, it's Vibrance for Life: How to Live Younger and Healthier. And this book came to me because I had healthy people coming to me and saying, I do everything right and I want to stay healthy, but I had people who were very sick, and I had a method, and I developed a method. Everything in this book is about how to plan your goals, have the internal vision and motivation for what you want your life to be, and all the basics to stay healthy: how to eat, how to exercise, how to rest, what labs you ask your doctor to do. It's still, to this day, I couldn't change anything because it's still valid to this day. It's sort of your electronics come with a manual.
Yeah.
We're not
We
born
do
with a manual.
We wish we were, but we're
Right,
not.
right. So that's the manual.
Yeah.
That's what was my vision for the book, is a manual
It is
for
fun.
how to live a healthy life.
Oh wow, that's a really good one, because that's very, very good, because and I really like the fact that you said it's a manual, because especially when people want to change their lives, they don't know where to start. I know support system is important. I know reaching out is important, but knowing for yourself where to start could be a good start. That's why some people start and stop, because they
Yes.
get lost. Whether they don't see the result as yet, whether they change, they kind of not confused, or they kind of have doubts about themselves
Yeah.
when it comes to that. Whether they don't have any purpose for it, they don't see any purpose for it. Hey, what am I doing it for? So they just quit. No, now when you say you have a manual, especially in the book, they have a manual how to first. I think you said develop your purpose to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You have to have a
develop it.
purpose.
Yeah,
You have to have a goal, and you have to set out a plan.
a plan. Yeah. You can have
So
a
what are you going to do first? There's different parts in the book. Some person might say exercise is the thing that's going to lift their spirits more, so then they can make the other changes. Other people would be, okay, I'm going to cut out sugar this week, and then several weeks from now I'm going to cut out different grains, or I'm going to decrease dairy or decrease alcohol.
Yeah.
So everybody has to start where they're most comfortable. But I always try to tell people the first place I would start is no sugar, and learn some relaxation techniques.
I know one of the me. I'm very big in meditation, and most people that I come across, they love meditation. Meaning is, some people can do it for 5 minutes. Some people say, you probably need in just 5 minutes. Some people say, 20 minutes. Some people for 2 hours. What about those people that just can't stand to stay still in one place for even 5 minutes?
Meditation doesn't have to be, like a Buddhist monk sitting cross-legged, breathing, or saying Om. No, meditation is just clearing your mind. So that's why sometimes going out for a walk in the woods. I remember going to Muir Woods, and we did a walking meditation through the redwood forest. It was like being in church. It was spiritual. It was beautiful. We teach a technique called heart math. And really what that is it combines, you can do it anytime. In fact, I'm going to do it now while I'm with you.
Really?
Yes.
I'm interested.
And,
Yes.
I'm breathing deep through my belly, and I'm breathing slowly.
Okay.
I'm focusing on my heart. Now I'm focusing on something, someplace, somewhere
Oh,
that I'm really,
like imaginary.
really appreciate. That is the magic, because you can't be
Oh.
in gratitude and be in tension. And when you practice this, you can do this in seconds. And I had a person working for me, and I hooked her up to a biofeedback machine, and she was a meditator.
Oh.
And I said, "Are you relaxed?" "Oh, yes, bring it on, bring it on." And we see the screen, and it's a little choppy. They call it a sine wave. It goes up and down.
Yeah.
Oh, just like how breathing goes
Yeah,
up
yeah.
and down, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I know she loved her dog.
Mm.
So I said, "Think about your dog." Oh my God. You saw her face just like
Just
melt, her whole
that
body
down.
changed. And then you had this beautiful, smooth sine wave.
Oh.
And I said, "Did you feel the difference?"
The difference, yeah.
And I used to do the all-day executive physicals, and I do that with them. They all were amazed at how different they felt. So when you practice this on your own, and this takes seconds, really, and it shifts. It just shifts your whole physiology. Just like if you're like this over, you feel that way. When you open up and you smile, your body will speak to your mind. Oh, she's
It's just,
up,
yeah.
So your body language, the way you hold yourself,
Yeah.
your smile,
Yeah.
finding laughter,
Yeah.
your breath, all that can just change
Can
you.
change, yeah.
So this heart mouth technique, I do it between every patient,
Oh.
because sometimes it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of my patients are caregivers. They're caregivers to their parents. They're caregivers to their children. They work full time. They're
Yeah.
exhausted.
They're
But you
exhausted.
take that and just think, of something, someplace, everybody has their happy place.
They have, yeah.
And if you don't, people, when they think about their children or their spouse, then they'll think about something bad they did. So choose something sometimes like
Don't
your
choose something that
pet,
would make you more
right.
upset.
Or if you don't have, listen, some people, it's unfortunate they don't have positive memories to go to. Make something up. Make
Really?
something up. Have your picture, make your vision board, and just, there you are. It just resets. you.
Resets it, yeah.
It's so you don't have to meditate to be able to change your physiology. It's good to clear your mind.
To clear your
But
mind.
people don't realize they exercise, and when they're exercising, they're focused
That
on
would be
exercise,
another
and
one,
that's
too.
a meditation for some people.
Yeah, that is, yes, yes.
Taking a walk is a
Yeah.
meditation. Doing yoga. It's
Yeah.
just clearing your mind and not having that constant monkey brain
Yeah.
of all the things I have to do.
Or listening to, a soft music too.
Yes.
I can, yeah. I remember I remember one of the patient, and she loves music on her time. When you listen to it, it's so soft, and that's one of the things that calms her down.
I would take
when
a
her,
hot bath with some lavender oil in the bath,
yeah,
where you had that smell
yeah,
and the nice warm water, and I had candles,
Candle
and,
around
and
it.
I had soft music,
Soft
and I would
music.
just lay there like, I couldn't do it too long,
Of course.
because but just that time was so
for yourself, yeah.
it's so nice.
Yeah.
It's just everything, your distress will melt away, but everybody has to find what's good for them.
Different. Yeah, that's one of the things I'm trying to deduct. It's meditation, because people who has not, or who think about meditation, they think meditation is, okay, you gotta just be a monk and stay quiet for like 5-10 minutes. Hey, meditation could be, whatever can relax you for the few minutes and can reset your brain. That's what we're trying to create. I would just even go say try to control our mind, but I know some people will be like, oh, this is difficult to, but at least trying to take it back step and say, hey, you're running too much, I'm right there. Some, and I know that it happens to everybody. You're sitting down or you're doing something and your brain goes back 10-20 years ago.
Yeah.
Or even your brain go further 10-20 years further. So that's what we're trying to say, just trying to have a break from your brain, from running your brain, and that's what you need to, that way you can just have a sense of calm and peace.
And also, don't let your thoughts rule you.
Yes.
The one form of meditation is to just observe your thoughts.
Yes,
I
yes,
did
yes.
that wrong. Oh, I'm thinking about it. I did something wrong. And you distance yourself from thought. And don't let it hook you and bring you back into self-flagellation. Just say, oh, I thought about how I did something wrong. Think of it like the GPS. Go left. Don't, make a turn. Just observe that thought, let it go. Then the next thought's going to come, oh, I'm thinking about that. Okay, I'm not letting it hook me. I'm letting that thought go. And it doesn't bring that emotional charge.
Sure, yeah.
And that's another form of meditation. There's so many types of meditation. But find, I just tell people, find what works.
One other thing you also mentioned, you have a programs online that can help people. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I have several programs. So I have programs on hormones and lifestyle, and I have programs on how to deal with chronic conditions. So I'll do a program if somebody if I see something a lot.
Yeah.
So my Keystone program, which is the biggest program, is about cortisol, the stress hormone, and it's all those lifestyle measures. You assess yourself, and you can choose what to start with. You assess where you're at, and then you decide, okay, I'm going to take this module. There's videos, there's resources, there's strategies. So you work on one thing at a time, and each of those things contributes to your distress. And it also contributes to your overall health. So that's sort of a manual as well. And it's interactive in the sense that you're going to assess yourself, and you're going to see, is this an area I really need to work on, and choose where to start. So that course has been very transformative for people, and I turned it into a life course, the midlife makeover, but people didn't know when midlife was, so it's but it's very valuable because it's all the things to I call what I do the vitality formula. Add things that are missing, subtract things that are harming your health, and multiply the things that are working for you.
Now, all of those sounds really well. Can you tell us how we can get to it, and what's the name, what's the website?
I have two websites. One is where I'm a doctor, vibranceforlife.com, and the other is where I have my courses and coaching, and that is thefeelgoodagain.institute.com. It has to have the and institute, otherwise you're going to get a drug rehab center.
Oh my God.
So I have free resources, I have blogs, I have courses, and soon we're going to be doing another group weight loss program that's natural.
Dr. Maita, this is a wonderful conversation. I really do enjoy it. I love to, like I said, I always one of the things that I really we love is just connecting the dots when it comes to health and healing. That is important. And the reason it's important, whatever you do, especially when it comes to food, when it comes to things that gets into your brain, it will affect you. And one of the things it affects us deeply, and some people tend to put it aside and think it's not important, is mental health. And I think people don't really realize how much it's affecting you. Some people will say, oh, you know what, I eat, I drink, I smoke, I do other things, and I'm still healthy. Like, really? How much longer? Healthy is not when you see bad symptoms. When healthy thinks, okay, it's just because you don't see any symptoms, doesn't necessarily, because symptoms tends to take time to develop.
Well, people accept feeling not quite right as normal.
Yes.
And they don't even know they have the symptoms. So we start everybody with a medical symptom questionnaire where they rate every symptom, and then they do a before and after the detox and elimination. And the scores go, the more symptoms you have and the more severe they are, the higher the score, and the less symptoms you have, the lower the score. So, sometimes we have people that go from 100 down to 9.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we just had another woman a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Every single symptom she came in for, but some people say, no, my bowel movements are normal.
Yeah, no, yes, it's normal. Yeah.
And they don't
I've
know
always been like that.
They don't even know they could feel so much better. One of my patients came and she said, Dr. Maita, you've been trying to get me to do this for 15 years. And she's somebody that ate healthy, she had a healthy lifestyle. I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. She finally did it. And she said, you tried to get me to do this for 15 years. I can't believe how good I feel, and I can't believe I just didn't do it.
That's the key. Exactly. So, really, like you said, people are so oblivious about, they think it's normal if, they think pain or is normal, they think no energy. They tend to be normal because they have dealt with it for the past 10,
Right.
15 years.
It's
And they're
normal
just,
for
it's
them.
fun. It becomes normal.
And then when
Yeah.
you get relief from those symptoms, it's like, wow, I didn't
Yeah.
know I could have that energy. I didn't know these aches and pains would be gone.
You'll be
I
gone.
didn't even realize how bloated and gassy I
Ah,
was.
cool, yeah.
Because I thought that that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. Dr. Maita, like mentioned again, I really do appreciate everything that you have said. And I think everything that you have said are very wonderful, especially it would be very helpful. Now, I really wanted to do one thing. It's very important for me for people to get information, especially when it comes to health, especially things that would help them when it comes to health. So please do us a favor. Not only you, I would like for you to mention the book. I would like to mention your website, and I would like for you to mention where people can get to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
The book is vibranceforlife.com, and it's available on Amazon as other places as well. The website for courses and coaching is 𝐓𝐢𝐤𝐤𝐈𝐧𝐬 and the medical website is vibranceforlife.com. There are educational blogs that are actionable, as well as many free resources on there. And, I have a very special place in my heart for caregivers. You very special people, and you really need to care for yourselves first.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maita.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This episode is sponsored by Autris Healthcare, your trusted partner in compassionate, high-quality home care. From skilled nursing and pediatric care to 24/7 live-in assistance and essential care services, Autris is here to support your health journey every step of the way. Learn more at autrishealthcare.com or call 1-866-428-8747 to book a quick consultation with our licensed nurse. Because at Autris, we believe care should feel like family.